In today's video, I'm going to teach you the top 5 signs that you may have high blood sugar or insulin resistance brewing. Hi, I'm Dr. Jesse Morris. I specialize in natural solutions for fatigue, gut health, and autoimmunity. So insulin resistance and diabetes are major problems here in the US, and they're a major cause of fatigue. So what I want to do today is break down what is insulin resistance, what is diabetes, how does that relate to high blood sugar, and what are 5 common signs that can alert you that you may have some insulin resistance brewing. So what is insulin resistance, right? So insulin is a hormone that gets produced in your pancreas, and its main job is to help glucose move from your blood into your cells. Okay, when you eat a meal, your body extracts glucose out of your food and that goes into your bloodstream, i.e. blood sugar. But in order for your cells to actually use that glucose to make energy and to function and do all the things they need to do, that glucose has to move from the bloodstream into the cells. So insulin is like a key that opens the door and allows that glucose to move into the cells. Now imagine if you eat a meal that really spikes your blood sugar, right? Simple carbs, sugar, things like that. And if you have this huge surge of blood sugar, you need a whole bunch of insulin to get the blood sugar to move out of the blood into the cells, right? Now, over time, if your cells get bombarded with high levels of insulin over and over, they become resistant, right? Or desensitized to insulin, right? So that's insulin resistance, where the cells start to resist the effect of insulin and the glucose stays in the bloodstream, right? Then in order to compensate, your pancreas will just pump out more and more insulin, right? Trying to get the glucose out of the blood into the cells. And then over time, those cells in your pancreas that make insulin, they get burned out, right? They get fatigued, they get exhausted, and they start to reduce their production of insulin, right? That's where we get into type 2 diabetes, where the pancreas is starting to fail and not being able to produce enough insulin. And so people end up having to inject insulin, right? Or take it in order to get the glucose from the blood into the cells. So like I said earlier, type 2 diabetes is a major, major health problem here in the US. It really drives the risk of a bunch of other diseases like cardiovascular disease, kidney disease, neuropathy, Alzheimer's, depression, diabetes, or obesity, I mean. So the list really goes on with the way diabetes drives risks of other diseases. So if you have, insulin resistance or you're getting high blood sugar and that's brewing over time, what are some signs and symptoms that can alert you that that's going on? Okay, so I'm going to cover top 5 of the most common ones. So one of the most common symptoms, the one that's kind of the most telling of that pattern, is having an energy crash, right? Getting sleepy, tired, or drowsy 15 to 30 minutes after you eat. So the way that works is when you eat food, your blood sugar goes up. If it can't get into your cells, one of the ways your body tries to deal with that is by converting blood sugar into fat, right? So that conversion of sugar into fat uses up a lot of energy. And then the cells aren't actually getting fuel to make energy, and so that combination leads to that major energy crash, 15 to 30 minutes after you eat. Number 2 is excess weight gain, right? So if your body's in this constant pattern of converting sugar into fat, one of the natural consequences is weight gain. Number 3 is excess urination. So one of the ways that your body tries to deal with high blood sugar is by pulling water out of the body into the bloodstream to dilute it and then also pee out the excess glucose. So leading to excess urination, which then leads to number 4, which is excess thirst, right? If your body's constantly extracting water out to try to flush glucose, extra blood sugar, we get dehydrated, and excess thirst can be a result of that. And then number 5 is craving sweets after your meals, right? So when you eat a meal, your blood sugar goes up, but if that glucose can't get into your cells, they're sitting there like, yo, we're still hungry, right? I know there's all this sugar in the blood, but it's not getting over here. So that the cells still being not getting the fuel they need can trigger that response or that impulse to eat sweets, get the blood sugar up, like try to get energy or fuel into your cells, right? I've heard that situation described as starvation in the midst of plenty, which makes sense. So, if you have a handful of those symptoms happening on a fairly regular basis, there's a good chance that you may have some insulin resistance brewing. But in order to know for sure, the next step is to do some labs and actually measure it, right? So 2 things to look at for insulin resistance. First off, measuring fasting blood sugar, which is a good one. And then also, a marker called hemoglobin A1C, which can be a window into your average blood sugar over the last 2 to 3 months. So if you have some insulin resistant symptoms, you have some labs that show that you're heading in that direction, what do you do about it? Right? So in my next video, I'm going to cover some major lifestyle strategies that you can use to counteract high blood sugar and insulin resistance. Right? So stay tuned for that. If you know you want some one-on-one help managing blood sugar, you can reach out to me. You can request an appointment through drjessemorris.com. I'm happy to help. Listen, I hope this is some useful information. Thanks again for watching, and I look forward to seeing you soon.